Welcome to Business Authority Radio, bringing you insights from today's thought leaders, professionals, and influencers. With your hosts, Neil Howe and Craig Williams.
Welcome to another episode of Business Authority Radio. This is Craig Williams, and I'm with Dr. Bruce L. Salzinger, founder of Chiropractic Healthcare of Buckhead and a pillar in this community of chiropractic care. Dr. Bruce, welcome.
Good morning to you, Craig. Nice to see you.
Is it morning time?
We might have just crossed into
this is an evergreen conversation, so time is not of essence. Dr. Bruce, you've been at this for a while. You've shared with the community the power of the adjustment, nutrition, living longer, and folks, when you see his picture, you'll know what I mean. This guy's probably about 120 years old, right?
Last week.
Awesome, but very young spirit in a seasoned body, and we're also celebrating 122 years of chiropractic care to humanity this week, which is ironic.
1895, they trace back to Dr. D.D. Palmer, what is claimed to be the first adjustment. At that time, it wasn't a body of work that we were all blessed with the shoulders, so to speak, to stand on. But he blazed a trail, having seen from just a curiosity to doing a manual, meaning hands-on manipulation, adjustment of his patient Harvey Lillard's spine, the restoration of hearing.
Wow. So healing is at the basis of all chiropractic care, as I understand it.
Well, for a long list of reasons, the public seems to believe it's just for back and neck pain, but that central nervous system is controlling and coordinating all function in the body. So just coincidentally, with the hearing story I just told you, restoration, most of the care that was sought by patients seeking D.D. Palmer out as the word started to spread. Imagine in a time when radio was scant and there were no cell phones, rotary phones hadn't even been invented yet. People were coming from all over because the word was spreading. So he was attracting all kinds of health-related issues. And that is really what we're celebrating with this 122nd year.
Well, you're a general practitioner, but at the same time, you being an athlete, you've serviced and helped many world-class athletes. And I know that's one of the verticals that you work in. You work also with the neck and back pain, but more of the nutritional, the lifestyle, creating an environment to teach and educate people on the power of not only what you're taking in that complements your daily health, but how that complements your structure and so forth and so on. How did you come into this business?
I had an incident. As Craig was saying, has always been involved in sport all through growing up, junior high, high school, college. I was always on whatever the teams were seasonally that attracted me. And I got hurt from time to time. I mean, you put yourself in that arena and you push hard to win or just push hard to train. It happens. So that's why there's training rooms where there's Hubbard tanks and physical therapists and other kind of help to not only maybe heal, but to functionally enhance a patient's, the athlete's abilities. So I was always attracted to that because I saw the benefit for my own self when I had a serious ski injury, and I had never been to a chiropractor before, but after having gone from what my parents thought was the right approach to the orthopedics, they at some point were recommending a surgery because their approach with the muscle relaxers and pain relievers and physical therapy alone was not solving the diagnosis that they had, which was a disc herniation. So they were talking about a surgery. I was all of maybe 20, and a friend of mine who was just finishing up at chiropractic school in New York at the time, I was living in Manhattan in New York, suggested that I come in. I could always have the surgery, in his words. Does an exam, took the x-rays, and it was the same diagnosis, just with a different approach. And it just made perfect sense to me. I moved along with a regimen of care, chiropractic, with recommended home care he had given me. And I came to realize that certain things I had had throughout my years, seasonal allergies, upper respiratory challenges relative in the winter, the season would go by and I'd look back and say to myself, I didn't get that this year. What's the difference? I wasn't using the antihistamines, and the seasonal winter type stuff was just not bothering me. So it started to click in when his explanation, as I just mentioned, of the nervous system, brain, down the spinal cord and out to literally every cell in your body, every organ system, controls and coordinates all function. If you then start to incorporate what really heals you is the direction of that nervous system, taking those macro micronutrients, the enzymes and vitamins from nutrient-dense nutrition, people come to realize that that just makes perfect sense. If your parents were responsible ones, and let's give them all credit, they were telling you to sit up straight, eat your fruit and vegetables, and go outside and play. So somehow over the years, we've lost our way in that regard. And yes, even though I attract a lot of severe trauma, be it the car accident, a workman's comp, or severe sport injury, we can quickly triage you. And if maybe you need an orthopedic interventional approach, we're more than glad to send you to who we believe would best co-manage this case. But most people are not coming in with that. Most people are coming in because they've just been along a bad path for so long, and they're sick of the drugs. It's not getting them any better. The ongoing pain is starting to become relatively transitory, where it was maybe in just one spot. And they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. So a typical patient that finally is either referred or is on their own, seeking more information, we're more than glad to educate you. And then, of course, you make a decision if it feels like you're in the right place.
Tell me this. So you just painted a picture, and it took me back to my younger years. I guess to get a little personal in my romantic life as a teenager, I guess, and this is hindsight, I seem to have been the nice guy, the rebound guy, the guy to help people bounce back to the reality of what there was outside in relationship. Would you say that chiropractic care has been, when you tear up all of the doctors that are out there, would you say chiropractic care is like the rebound? We've tried everything else. Okay, we'll give you a try.
Well, there's definitely been volumes of those stories. But those years were more you're going to a chiropractor? For what? Now it's who you're going to. Because the public's awareness of the depth and breadth of what I've just explained to you, that's just reality.
Yeah.
And you need to appreciate it, kind of like the fuse box in your home.
Yeah.
But you're not on or off, because then you're dead. But if you have pressure on that system, your toaster, your air conditioning system, the lights, whatever, coming from that brain down, or in our case, in this state, Georgia Power, down to the transmission stations, to then everything in your home. I mean, think about how many times you're working with the connection in the back of your computer, CPU.
Yeah.
How many times you're checking to make sure the plug is in. You know, how many times you're making sure that the fuse boxes still got a good fuse in there, or the ballast in your lights. Well, your body really works kind of along the same way, but more along a pinching or a stretching or a torquing type pressure on that system, which is protected by the skull and vertebra of your back, which moves, which gives the potential to move out of place, not break, but to lose its precious biomechanical function. As you all listen to me now, just reach your arm out and move your wrist around. I mean, we all kind of take these things relatively for granted, but appreciate it. Those are joints with surfaces that are designed to slide and glide in optimal ways. If they should get out of place, not break, but what we term subluxate, less than a luxation, a break, you in turn are going to start to get some symptomatic, because the pressure builds, because when you lack movement, you can't exchange waste product for nutrition, which your body is using all day long to create energy for you. Mm-hmm. So it uses the precious, God willing, nutrient-dense nutrition you take in to stay strong and flexible. It uses that, and that's what's created in your number one and number two when you relieve yourselves. Mm-hmm. Related to the spine, that needs to be appreciated to this level, is those are where your spinal cord and nerve roots are. So the chiropractor's tools are to work at those levels, to take the pressure out off of the nerve root level. If you were to call an office like mine, I, yes, am a specialist in the extremities, shoulder, elbow, wrist, jaw, cranium, hip, knee, foot. And I've seen tremendous benefit, because if you become a student of this and you look at the body holistically, even though you might, for example, feel like you're getting a heart attack, I can't tell you how many times I would adjust a patient's wrist and they go, "Oh, you took the knife out." And you said, "How's that possible?" Well, I've probably had 1 million patient experiences, and I've been a student of this craft, and I've learned, or so to speak, I know what I don't know, which then leads me to want to know it. And that's just been my way I've conducted myself throughout this career. So, yeah, people are coming from all over, not just to me. I'm not the only one with the sliced bread, God willing it can be described that way, but I've got good colleagues all over the world now. Yeah. And the schools are putting out good product. Awesome. So my best suggestion is the open mind. Yeah.
The open mind receives the gift. Tell me this, what are some of the misconceptions of chiropractic care that you're still seeing a lot of, that you thought by now, with the information age behind us, because everything's at a Google search or a Siri request, what are some of the misconceptions still in chiropractic care? One of the biggest frustrations I have with the information available on the, so to speak, World Wide Web is you really need to know what the source of that is. Not that it's coming from Google, but who are they, putting up, because we all have the opportunity to get up there, what that source of that opinion might be. So you want to be a little cognizant of that. But what has always been a little frustrating to me is think about how well your dentist has educated you. Floss and brush the ones you want to keep. And do them at least morning and night. Maybe you'd want to floss after lunch as well, and gargle. If you do that, most likely, unless you're a severe grinder where you are going to wear those surfaces down, you are going to have excellent dental health. Why? Because you're dealing with the problem on a regular basis. Now, how do they do that? Well, it's affordable, it's portable, and there's really no reason you can't do that. With the chiropractic offer or opportunity or benefit, you need to come to us. You cannot download that other than the information. You need to come to us. Now, you can minimize how often you need to come if you just listen to some basic tools. Now, if you're coming in a severe condition, just like if you want to start working out, any trainer with any salt is going to tell you that you got to come relatively often to get your body going, and you've got to kind of maybe get over what might be a little soreness. So my point here is that most people come in, I hear you have to come for the rest of your life. Well, if it makes sense to you, we hope you'd want to, because to be honest, in my many years of being the patient and provider, regular care has kept me from the medical doctors and those drugs. For the rest of your life?
Well, up until now, pretty much. I do get an annual physical, because just like anything, you would want early detection. And how many of us know people that just got a workup and they got a cardiovascular problem, heart attack, but they just went to their doctor? How many of you know are women that go for regular pap tests and then for their gynecological concerns, and all of a sudden they got ovarian or uterine cancer? I mean, these are, in my view, the appreciation that all the health providers have what to offer. This has been a health and wellness model clinic that has been giving people the information on how to best take care of themselves. Like I kidded before, sit up straight, eat your fruit and vegetables. I will guarantee you, if you look at your ergonomic setup at work, most likely it's not as friendly as it could be. And for those of you who are wise to maybe even consider a stand-up desk, and you're noticing the benefits, if after 10, 20, 30 years of having sat the other way, you're, yes, on a good path, but it's going to take a good bit of time for that body to start to appreciate the better care you're taking of it. Sitting is a real issue for all of us. Those compressive forces are what's leading to why most people have, if not upper back and neck pain, certainly herniations in those areas. And that's just physics. It's the gravity of your body weight relative to the compressive forces. And if you're not taking as good a care of yourself by strengthening and flexibility with nutrient-dense nutrition, and if you're not getting in your diet, I highly recommend you supplement. We have an excellent supplement here that I've been recommending and taking personally well over 20 years with the data on the finished blend. And it's only proven itself to, if you're not getting it in the diet, which is your best way to get it, at least supplement and do your best to get it in the diet. Because unfortunately, we're now in an era where they're trying to convince you that GMOs are okay. Well, what was happened with MOTHER, nature's longer than time's offerings? All of a sudden, we need genetically modified is better for us, and claiming it is, yeah,
they've got a surplus of it, and it's lacking that much more of the nutrition that the MOTHERs had. So even more reason why we need supplementation now.
I can't agree more. Or the awareness of how to read labels, the healthcare crisis that we all hear about, that they're frustrated in Washington trying to tinker with, is a combination of too much demand, and there is just no way they can finance that demand. There's no way. You have too much gray zone, you have too much illegal. Most of the way these things swing is that you have to find someone that you can trust, that's giving you straight information, and then you make the decision. If we suggest eating well, that doesn't mean one salad a week. That means everything you put in your mouth needs to be relatively discerned with the label.
Yeah.
And just like you might read your car manual by putting in the right oil, be it high test or low grade or lead free or whatever, these things are very important. So the responsibility is on us.
Yes.
And if you then take that and appreciate that it's only since the late 1890s, early 1900s, where foreign wars were fought, where the troops had to be fed, so they figured out how to put things in a bag, in a can, with shelf life and food flavoring enhancers and all of this. Well, yeah, 2 or 3 generations later, you come to realize that we've got a healthcare crisis. You got diabetes that's just running wild. You have cardiovascular disease, hypertension, and cancer, which you can't contain these costs. The only way you can help the problem is by reducing demand, and that's on an individual basis. And just like I've become, so to speak, just a voice for this, if you come in to hear what I do here, you're going to hear this. And I'm not going to browbeat you, but I'm going to hope you'll at least give it a chance. Because I believe that you're going to typically get on board with the others that have typically said, I can't believe I didn't come sooner. Now, I've been getting adjusted pretty much once a week for almost 50 years. And most people will say to me, those who don't know what this is, what's wrong with you? Well, to be honest with you, there was something, and now I'm just maintaining good health.
Yeah.
I've been buying my health and life insurance at premium rates. I show up for the things I love to do in life. I miss work by choice because I want to go on a vacation. And I've been blessed with extremely good health. I take no drugs. I take this Juice Plus whole food nutrient-dense supplement I've been recommending for 20 years. I walk the talk, and hundreds of my patients do.
Yeah.
And they typically tell others. And while I still market the practice, most of it is referral-based for all the right reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not the cheapest, but the value is more than there.
Yeah.
And the rates are in-network rates.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not, picking a number and, okay, you can't afford that, we'll take 10 off. No, it's very straightforward.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good segue. You mentioned adjustment, and that seems like that's been the basis outside of the conversation. And I would like to do the research on the statement "sit up straight," because if that's older than 122 years, then maybe that's the epicenter of chiropractic care. Just those fundamentals. But the power of the adjustment. I mean, it seems like everything's built around that. Tell me about that. You've been doing that for a number. You have 52 at least, or close to 52 a year. The power of the adjustment. Tell me about that.
Craig, I got to tell you, because you asked the perfect question. What are some of the other things? So one was you got to come for the rest of your life. If that's what you should choose to do, there's, of course, all the right reasons and many of those that'll be glad to help you, me included. But the other is most people are very caught up in what they believe is just a philosophical thing about chiropractic. It's like a religion, and that in turn has got them to have some hesitation. And I must say, when I started at Life University, I was kind of getting that sense too. The practitioner that got me out of the challenge I was in was expressing some of the things I've been saying through this interview. But what really started to make me feel very comfortable is that is what they were teaching me at Life. Now, they might have expressed it from a beamer or a podium, and at the time Sid Williams did, yes, come off as someone who was a evangelist, maybe we would call it. He was a very tall man. He had a very dominant personality. But appreciate, thank God, someone like him came along, because the fact that you appreciate this now is a Medicare coverage, the VA covered benefit, standard health care, your Blue Cross, your United, all of those providers, was because of his efforts on the political side, while he built the largest chiropractic college in the world. So when it comes down to the specificity of this question asked me, I will tell you that when I first started learning how to do that adjustment, and you then become a student of the outcome as you practice over the years, I'm more convicted to the extent of that power being nothing short of a gift that the practitioners are given that do this work, but it was maybe a gift from above down, that it's just that easy. Yeah. We, are able to somewhat self-correct. Now, there are those of us who, through our day, we hear like a clicking when we turn our head. That's like what we would term necessarily a compensatory release. I think that's part of the way the body is just designed to release these internal pressures. And of course, animals on four legs have this as well, vertebra and a skull and a brain. And there are a lot of my colleagues who treat on a veterinarian level, and the philosophy of control and coordinating all function against a veterinarian profession that takes the traditional medical model. And those that are open-minded are starting to see some real benefit in that arena too. But on the human level, for all of us, as we move around, and how many of us haven't cracked our knuckles? Now, there's the old wives' tale that you maybe shouldn't do that. Well, that's because those of you who are doing it are probably not doing it properly. Just like I could adjust you improperly, there's a better way than just hearing a noise. So it's not hearing a noise, there's a right way to do it at a certain angle and vector and speed and depth, that relative to where in the body you're doing that, the patient is going to receive that with the least amount of, whatever you want, a little tweak, let's call it, and get the most enduring benefit if what? They sit up straight, they exercise, they don't smoke and they don't drink, they eat well, and they get rest when their body says is tired. The list really isn't you got to be Arnold Schwarzenegger and, running around in a bikini in a gym you don't want to be in. But I would suggest you do need to work your heart and lungs, because you need that blood pumping, you need that oxygen as food for the body, and you do need to strengthen, because gravity, let's kid ourselves, it's not the enemy, but thank God, or let's just accept the fact that it exists. Yeah. And you got to lift your body weight relative to it, and you need to be flexible to enjoy all this great world has. So with that in mind, that's really all it is. Wow. Should things get a good bit worse, we live in a great time where extremely strong or interventional work by the medical profession is available, and they do a great job. Think of all of you today that are out there that are benefiting from that hip replacement, that knee replacement, that shoulder. These are phenomenal advancements. Those of you that have had cardiovascular issues, God, you're in and out of the hospital now, back within like 4 to 8 weeks. We live in unbelievable times. But that doesn't mean you want to go that route because the option's there. Yeah. There's still some risk and downside. Taking better care of yourself is step one.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Bruce L. Salzinger, a licensed affiliate of the 100-Year Lifestyle, and I think you're going to make it. We're going to make it. Let's make it together.
Craig, I'd be upset if we didn't.
Chiropractic Healthcare of Buckhead. How do you like individuals to get in touch with you? What's the best way to get in touch with you? And how do they find you?
All of us are going online today. Chiropractic Healthcare Buckhead, Dr. Salzinger, DrSalzinger.com. You bring up our website, the staff, and all of our credentialing, a story about the practice, the services we provide. Give us a call. If we can't help you, the zip code we're in, because we're not geographically favorable, we'd be more than glad to put you in touch with those of us who we know are on a similar page that we are.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Doc.
My pleasure.
You've been listening to Business Authority Radio with Neil Howe and Craig Williams. To learn more about the resources mentioned in today's show, or to listen to past episodes, visit businessauthorityradio.com.